Hey, sup YouTube? So, a few days ago, like 3 or 4, I'm not really sure now. It's been a while. I got Diamond 1 with Strike Orcust. Let's just show you the proof because obviously people want to see proof. That took a little bit long. Alright, there it is. Look at that 4-win streak. That's nice. Yeah, let's get into the profile. So last season I was running, 41 card deck. This season I cut it down to 40 cards. I'm actually not sure what I cut this time, but I know I cut something. At the start of the season I was playing DPE, but I quickly realized that DPE kind of, like, he breaks your hands and it's just, I don't know. I kept seeing Celestial Dasher, and that just doesn't do anything by itself. Every game where I didn't see an Orcust name, I pretty much lost, because if you're playing an Orcust deck and you don't open Orcust cards, that's kind of bad, you know? Alright, so let's get into the list. So obviously we have 3 Maxi. You draw cards like crazy in this deck already, but Maxi is just like the ultimate draw card. You draw so many cards, it's not even funny. So obviously 3 Maxi, and it's a hand card that can just flat out end your turn, or end opponent's turns, not your turn. If you get Maxied, I mean it's not ideal, but you can still crescendo pass with, I believe, 2 or 3 summons. Don't quote me on that. Against Sword Soul, the time you want to be maxing is you want to let them resolve a Shuna, or their whatever tenure they have. Just let them resolve it. I'm saying this to you right now because if they have, the Gamma, you're kind of screwed anyway. If that called, you're always going to lose, but that's obvious. If they use Longyuan, you're kind of forced to maxi at that point, because if you don't, they have Barone immediately. So just remember that. So that's why you got maxi. It's really good, obviously. 3 Ash, second best hand trap. Best hand trap in the TCG, I'd say, because it just blanket stops most decks. Definitely play 3 of them if you can. And then the 1 Nibiru. Honestly, I wish I had more hand traps, but then I'd be going above 40. Nibiru is just a nice card to draw off of Maxi. That's its main purpose. You want to draw this off of Maxi, because Nibiru is a big threat in the metagame. Well, it's not a big threat, but it's a big threat to draw off of Maxi. It really makes your opponent stop and think, do I really want to play into Nibiru? Because if you're gonna special summon 5 times, you're giving me 5 draws, and you're giving me 5 chances to draw into Nibiru. And even if it does get negated, let's say they have Barone to negate it, guess what? That Barone is offline for good now. That Barone, all it can do now is just pop a card every turn. Or tag out. One of those two. So that's why I play the Nibiru still. He's good. There's also an interaction with Nibiru in Orcust decks, where if you go Chain Link 1 Nibiru and then Chain Link 2 Orcust thing, Nibiru will still tribute. He'll just stay in your hand. So you basically get to clear your opponent's board every turn. Just keep that in mind. Alright, 2 Skeleton, this is pretty standard. 1 Harp, you can only play 1. 1 Dingirsu, you can only play 1. I am playing 3 Nightmare this time because, I said before, if I don't see an Orcust name, I'm not very happy. Now, Orcust Nightmare, he is technically a brick, but if you can find a way to discard him, it's actually nice to see it in your opening hand. So you have quite a few ways to discard. You have Orchestrator Return to discard, you have drop it send, but same idea, just get in the graveyard. You have Dark Greffer to discard the Nightmare. And what else do you have to discard? I noticed something else. Ah, yes, you have Nightmares to discard. If you're going second, you have Barricade Board to discard if you're going first, using some like Drone Token or whatever. There's a lot of ways to discard cards, so definitely play 3 of them. If you don't want to play 3, you can always just go to 2. That's fine too. Then we have the 1 World Legacy Wand. I know some people play 2. I would also like to play 2, but you don't want to brick on this, so I just play 1. You kind of have to play this card for recovery people. I almost said for recovery people. For recovery purposes. So, play the 1 Wand. If you want, you can play 2, but I don't know. I would like to play 2, but I can't really recommend it. So, that's the Orcust ratio. All good. So, we have the 1 Armageddon Knight and 2 Greffer, and then the 1 Rhoda. You actually rather draw a Rhoda over like one of these guys, or like 1 Armageddon or 1 Greffer, and then a Rhoda, because then you can bait an Ash out or whatever. They're just good starting cards, good starter cards. You can normal Armageddon, send whatever you need. Summon Dark Greffer, sometimes you normal him, sometimes you special him. Pitch one of your useless dark monsters in hand, like a Skeleton or a Nightmare, or and just start your combo off. If I could somehow play like 3 Armageddon Knight, I absolutely would. I believe, have around like 4 starters in the deck. 5 you include Rhoda. Technically, Greffer's not a true starter because he does require you to discard a dark, but I mean, you're playing a lot of darks in this deck anyway, so I'll count them as a starter, so about 5 starters. And you're going to draw into them via lore, orchestrated return, or its engage draw, plus upstart. Speaking of which, 3 upstart goblin, it's a free draw card, play it. 1 foolish, this just sends anything. This card basically says send harp, and do your full Orcust combo. I already went over Rhoda. We have 2 allure, just 2. Honestly, I'm not sure why I'm playing 2. There should actually be 3 in here, but... Oh, I know why now. I needed to make space for Shark Cannon, that's why. So 2 allure, this would be 3 if we weren't playing Shark Cannon. It's a draw 2. I surprisingly never saw this card, which is funny. I saw more upstarts than I saw allures. Actually, I didn't even see a single allure. I just never saw this card. So, take that how you will. It's a draw 2, unless you see you're like deeper into your deck, so you may as well play 2 allure. Play 3 if you can. There you go. 2 engage, the whole reason you play this deck. You have half your deck is literally spells. Actually, more than half your deck is literally spells. You literally just load the graveyard up, activate engage, and your opponent says, oh god, it's an engage. What am I going to do? You add whatever you need, and you just win. Even going second, you can win because of engage. Striker cards are ridiculously powerful. I believe I broke a, what was it, Qishao, Chengying, Baronne, Blackout, Vanities board using basically engage. I baited out the Baronne negate with Afterburner. Then I went engage, Shark Cannon, take their Baronne, and you know, like obviously the Afterburner, it can blow back row up, and I knew which one was the Vanities, so I blew the Vanities up along with the Baronne. That's how I was able to special summon. Duh. Point is, striker cards, good. Play them. 2 Orchestrated Return, I only play 2 and not 3, because 1, we don't have 3 Harp first off. If I had 3 Harp and 3 Girsu, I would 100% play 3 Orchestrated Return. But we don't, so only 2. Also only 2 because this card is technically an Opt. So if you open 2 Orchestrated Return, that's not that great to have in your hand. Other than that, it's a draw 2. It fills your graveyard up. What's not to like? The 1 Babel, this card makes Orcust insane. It just turns everything into a quick effect. It allows you to have Dingirsu, Mask, and whatever other stuff you have in the graveyard. You only play 1 because you only really need 1. And you can search with Galatia, so just 1. 2 Call By. I was playing 2 Call, 3 Crossout, but honestly, I realized very quickly I don't need 3 Crossout. If you want, you can play 3 Crossout, but I wouldn't recommend it. It's just kind of useless. I was playing it early season and it was helping a little bit, but you really don't need it. For consistency's sake, just play 2 Called or like 2 Crossout. Pick your favorite one. 1 Hornet Drones. You can only play 1, and you only really need 1. This card just lets you go into Striker Engine. Allows you to go Kagari, grab whatever, drone token, go into Barricade, pitch whatever, pitch Harp, pitch, well, you wouldn't be pitching Harp, you would normal summon Harp, but pitch Nightmare, you know, just get your Orcust engine started. 2 Widow Anchor, this card lets you break boards. It's also disruption if you're going first, because 9 out of 10 times you won't have anything in the in the main monster zones, and if you do, you can clear them with IP. If you still have stuff in the main monster zone, you can probably just hold this in your hand for the subsequent turn. It's pretty good. Going second, it also allows you to break a board simply by like baiting out a negate, maybe even stealing something, going for game. I've gamed so many people by just stealing their own monster and saying, hey, I have access code and I have your 3k beater. I win. The 1 Shark Cannon, this didn't come up that often. Honestly, I might even just cut this. The idea behind Shark Cannon was to stop DPE from coming back, but I use it more to just steal people's negates, so take that how you will. 2 Droplet. Card lets you go second. Like, it's just a blanket Omni negate. Or sorry, it's a blanket negate. You can't stop it. Deal with it. It also is pretty good in Orcust because you just send, like, Harp, Wand, Skeleton, and say, okay, I have a full graveyard. That's the second hand for me. Awesome. You don't even care about the discard that much. The 1 Crescendo, it's an Omni negate. You sometimes make it, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you actually have to discard Crescendo to get your entire engine started. That's really scuffed if you have to do it. But it's technically a Searcher too, so just remember that. Alright, so that's the main deck. That's cool. Nice and dandy. Let's go to the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we have 2 Dingirsu. Dingirsu is just a nice boss monster. He's a disruption. And he can recycle your engine for you too, if you need that to happen. Ideally, you play 2 of them. You can get away with 1, but I wouldn't recommend it. Try to get 2 as quickly as possible. 1 Linkuriboh. This is mainly here to turn your Girsu token into an effect monster. Or you can also use your Striker token as an effect monster for this, if you're not going to Kagari because you're Dark Locked or whatever. Other than that, that's the only purpose for Link Haribo, is just an effect monster to make Glacia with. Clara, I'm actually not sure why this is here. I think I put this in last minute. Technically, you could normal summon Harp in main phase 2 and then do your full combo that way, but yeah, don't play this card. I'm not sure why it's here. One Kagari. Kagari, again, this is hand trap bait most of the time, but you can also do your one card, well, it's not one card, it's more like 2 card combo. You go Drone, Kagari, Drone, Summon, make Barricade, pitch Nightmare, and do combo. That's its purpose, to be able to more easily access your your Orcust engine. That's the only reason it's here. Or bait on hand traps, your choice. One Hayate, if you open really bad, like it happens, every deck will open badly at some point, you can at least still go into Hayate and get an engage. So that's there. Or, you know, maybe you just want to hit your opponent 1500 because that's going to beat them. I don't know. You don't have to play Hayate. You can play something else, like another dark target for IP, or maybe another Dingirsu. It's your choice, really. You could also play Boral Sword if you have that. Boral Sword is quite good in Orcust, because oftentimes access code might not be enough to kill your opponent for whatever reason. Alright, one Phoenix. It outs back row. I don't think I have Cerberus here, which is odd. I should have Cerberus. But we don't. It's fine. You just need Phoenix, realistically. One Glacia. This is the reason you play Orcust. Well, one of the reasons you play Orcust. Starts you anything. Recycle stuff. You can turn this into a Dingirsu later. It's good. One IP. This is another disruption that you're going to go into most of the time in this deck. So, yeah, that's why you play IP. One Barricade. The only reason you play this card is because it can discard a name in your hand. Like, that's literally the only reason you play this. And I guess I learned this interaction yesterday. I don't know how I didn't know this before, but technically you can go Barricade. Like, if your opponent goes Harpy's Feather Duster, normally that's really bad for you, but you can just go Masquerena and a random link or random monster on your board, turn it into a Barricade, and your field spell will be safe, and your opponent's just going to look at you like, wait, that does what now? So I guess it does have one purpose, protecting your field spell if you summon off IP during your opponent's turn. That doesn't really come up that often though, because, yeah, let's be real, who's going to summon this? Alright, so then you have Tropologic Trispana. Trispana is a literal FTK against any back row deck. If you go first, you make the IP board, and your opponent goes set 5 past, you say, ha 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 ha, IP effect, Trispana, Skeleton effect, summon Dingirsu, Chainlink 1 Trispana, nuke your back row, Chainlink 2, Dingirsu, attach, and then you just burn your opponent for like 2k. 2.5k, I think. Don't quote me on that, my math is really bad right now. Alright, yeah, so there you have it. He's a heavy storm on legs. What can you not like? And he's also another thing, this guy is not once per turn. So if you somehow are able to resolve this twice, kudos to you. Nightmare Unicorn, this is for the decks that aren't back row decks. If you have to go into Nightmare Unicorn, typically you want to go to Dingirsu, but sometimes you go to Nightmare Unicorn to spin anything. This is your man. Maybe you're forced into using this. I don't know. It's just a good link 3 to have, and you can access code ladder with this too. So there you have it. Play the Unicorn if you have it. You really should be playing as a dark. Why not? The one Dingirsu, I actually want to bump this up to 2, but you don't really need to play 2. But it's just nice to have. He's just another name for, you know, laddering into Dingirsu, but you can also clear your opponent's board relatively easy with Dingirsu and make your opponent's life hell with its effect. Also, he recycles your engine, of course. All the Orcans really recycle your engine, but Dingirsu can recycle 2 of them. And that comes up sometimes, not too often though. One Topologic Zero Boros. This card is a boss monster. You're not going to summon it that often, but you can, and when you do, your opponent just stares at it like, how am I going to out this? This thing banishes everything. He comes back, you kill your opponents, they can't do anything about it. I summoned this against, I believe, Sword Soul quite a few times. I made it basically impossible for them to do anything. I banished all their Sword Souls, all their Tenyes, and they just pass their turn. Like, they pause for a second, wondering what the hell just happened. After like a minute or two, they pass turn to me, I summon Zero Boros, and I beat them with that. Alright, and the last card we have is, of course, the Access Code Talker. I don't really need to explain this card, it's just access code. It enables easy OTKs. Play the card. Yeah, there's nothing more to say about that card. It's just good. It's just one of the best Link monsters in the game right now, possibly of all time. Okay, if you like this deck profile, please consider liking the video. Please consider subbing to the channel so you can see more profiles like this in, next seasons. I stream on Twitch sometimes. The link should be in the description somewhere below. And yeah, if you don't like the profile, dislike this video and let me know what the hell I did wrong so I can fix it. Alright, thank you for watching this video. See you next time. Later.